Just building on my conversation with my colleague over here, let me just ask you how significant you think this event is for Iran and for the dynamics of the Middle East.
Well, it certainly makes a big hole in the Iranian political leadership. But as your previous speaker said, I don't think it's going to make any substantial change in either Iran's domestic politics or, for that matter, foreign policy. All the powers are deposited in the supreme leader, that is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And, of course, he has already assured the Iranian public that the business of the country is running would be as usual and there would be no change. He just simply has called for the people to remain calm and to pray for President Raisi and his foreign minister and some of the others who've been killed in the crash with them. But at the same time, this is going to open the way for a new presidential election, and that election comes at the time that Iran faces serious domestic and foreign policy challenges.
Yeah. So let me just ask you a question about the successor, because President Raisi was deemed one of the two potential successors to the Ayatollah. With him out of the picture now, does that set the stage for Khamenei's son actually to take over? And if that is the case, again, what are the implications from that?
Well, certainly, I think it opens the arena for Mujtaba Khamenei, and Mujtaba has been very closely linked to the powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And but that does not necessarily mean that his election is going to be a very smooth election, because he will be challenged by a number of other candidates. Of course, those candidates will be vetted as usual by the Guardian Council for their loyalty and commitment to the preservation and maintenance of the system. But it will remain to be seen who is going to really emerge from the conservative side of politics and, of course, from the reformist side of the politics. My hunch at this point is that I think the authorities under the supreme leader will do everything possible that another person who would be very similar to Raisi be elected to the presidency. But whether Mujtaba really is happy to the ring for the presidency, that remains to be seen, because he's been considered as a serious candidate for succeeding the supreme leader. And the supreme leader, for the time being, is alive. Of course, he's 85 years old and not in very good health. I mean, at some point, I think that issue will have to be.
Yeah, and this is, of course, coming on the heels of heightened geopolitical sensitivities between Iran and Israel. We saw direct confrontation between the two in the last month. Given some of the turmoil at home, can we expect to see a de-escalation on that front, simply because the Iranian regime is going to be so focused on the internal politics and the upcoming presidential elections, they're not going to have the bandwidth to engage in any external wars?
Well, I mean, that may be really the case, but at the same time, I think Iran is absolutely committed to maintain its regional security complex. And, of course, that means that it will respond if there's going to be any attack on the part of Israel or for any of its allies in the region. But let's not really forget that there has been speculation up to this point that Israel or the Israeli intelligence, that the Mossad, which has a very strong presence in Azerbaijan, may be behind this crash. But there is no evidence to really back that up. But at the same time, I think the Iranian intelligence will do everything possible to dig up whatever evidence that could become available. And if there is any evidence of Israeli involvement in one way or another, and then I think the situation between Iran and Israel can get worse than what it is at the moment.